All right. Hello, everybody. Kyle Kemper, host of the Miami Crypto Experience. And today I am here with Keri Norley, who is going to be a speaker and a facilitator at the Miami Crypto Experience. How are you doing, Keri?
I am so great. I'm psyched to be here and I'm psyched to be having this conversation. And I am very excited to get to Miami for this conference. I think it's going to be amazing.
Me too. I mean, November is kind of a time when it's dark and cold in much of the world. And in Miami, it's not like that. It's going to be
No.
warm. It's going to be great. I look at the weather forecast. It looks like it's going to be, I'm a Canadian, so I see things in Celsius. So 28. So what's that? That's like mid 80s, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Perfect.
28. Beautiful.
Yeah.
By the way, so that as we keep talking, this random accent that you're going to hear, originally from Chicago, but 15 years in Sydney in Australia. So I am very much
okay. And where are you based these days?
Denver, Colorado.
Okay, fantastic. One of the crypto epicenters of Middle America.
Yeah.
Of the Rockies, shall we say. So Keri, tell me about yourself. Like, this is the first time we've really connected. You're the Wealth Alchemist. What does that mean?
What does that mean? It's why we were just hitting, like, just before we hit record, we were talking about activations for spiritual light workers. And so ultimately, like, my background as a wealth alchemist, my background comes from doing more of the energetic work. So I love playing in the quantum realms. I love helping people shift their realities from I work on people's wealth consciousness, right? So even as we go through in this crypto space, if people's consciousness isn't willing to show up to how abundant we can absolutely be, we can sabotage that as a personal, but also as a society, right? Mm-hmm. And so part of what we have to do is shift the entire consciousness of the planet. Like, we can give people money, but if you give people money and they haven't shifted their consciousness, it will just drain out the other side. So one of the things that I really love to work with people is, like, how do we shift the energy so that we allow ourselves to receive the abundant flow to ourselves, but then also hold it and grow it. Right. And this is the place I think a lot of people are not talking about in the financial world, is the fact that we can hold and grow the wealth, and we can allow ourselves, like, we've been enslaved into a system of debt, and we've been indoctrinated into fear and scarcity and lack. And so people don't believe that's possible because that's what we've been conditioned to believe, but it's not true. And, like, if we look at one of the things I love about crypto is that we can create this infinite spiraling loop of abundance. And especially DeFi, like, for me, that's where I love playing, is in the space of decentralized finance, because we can, like, we can actually create infinite abundance. And, like, when you really think about that, it's like a completely new consciousness for wealth. And it lights me up. And I love talking about all the intricate aspects of it, because I don't think you can have one without fully embracing the other.
I couldn't agree more with you. And I mean, as you're speaking, I'm getting chills. Like, I'm just getting chills because I feel the same way. I feel like, we've been in this, like, extractive, dominating, usury driven legacy financial system. I'll call it the legacy because we now have crypto and blockchain technology, and this new technology is here, and it's going to make this existing system obsolete. And right now, I'd say the existing system is more and more unnecessary too. But like, as you said, in addition to just the fact that this technology is here, there's also, like you said, wealth consciousness, like, becoming financially literate, understanding wealth generation versus having a big balance necessarily in an account, thinking about, your whole spectrum. I think one can be very wealthy and not have, like, any necessarily any crypto, but those are different things. And so in your workshop, how like, what do you like to tell people, and can you give us a preview of what will be kind of taking place in Miami?
Yes, because we are at crypto, we are going to talk more crypto stuff. And for me, one of the things that is important, and the thing, like I said before, in the crypto space, and that isn't getting talked about enough, if you ask me, is decentralized finance, is DeFi. And there's a lot of people who are buying into all the volatile assets, and we're getting amazing growths, and we're having millionaires show up overnight and all this kind of stuff. We're also having people lose all their money too, right? Mm-hmm. And so this is the volatile space that crypto is, which can be absolutely amazing and incredible. And there's so much fun to be had in the NFT space. And, like, there's so much growth in these places, but they're also volatile. And the thing that I love about the decentralized finance is how we can have a stable base. And I think what people do not consider when we start to look at the spiral of wealth and growing wealth is that ultimately the long-term vision, right? Long-term vision will, generally speaking, win over the short term, like adrenaline rush of, oh, I just made this money. Because on the other side of that is the drop, right? Like how many people make and lose money, make and lose money, make and lose money.
Yeah. And
And
I'll
if you
say from
build,
experience too, like, making a little bit of money, it can feel good, but like the loss is much more devastating. Like, it can be like psychologically, spiritually, mentally, like really like physically, like, a real hit. But I don't know, maybe we take it for granted a little bit in the crypto space, but again, I continue, sorry.
yeah, no, it's okay. So, and when we look at that, like to be able to hold a safe and stable assets within your portfolio makes it really, like, you can see, like, so one of the things I'm going to talk about is how we can create a portfolio that you can have some risk within this volatile space, because obviously there's lots to be made in that, but then how can you protect yourself so that you don't lose everything? Like how can we then start to look for generational, even just for your own, like, I've shown people that in 20 years, if you just put this much money in now, and it was like a capable thing for them, like 30 grand or 20 grand or whatever it was. And like, by the time you're there, like you could be living off of your assets, and like, yeah, it might not have the same like poof right away, but long term, like, look, in 20 years, you could be retired and it doesn't matter what freaking Social Security is going to happen in 20 years' time, right?
Right.
Because you have taken care of yourself. And when you have decentralized finance, you don't have those drops. Like you're going to always have that stable space where from there we have awesome returns on a daily compounding interest, and I think it's a really important thing to start to look at that balance of both, and how we play the field for long-term growth versus instant gratification.
I completely agree. And one of the things too about decentralized finance, just like this, how I kind of simplify it for others, is it basically is taking the financial institutions, what these enormous buildings that are employing, and all these branches that are employing thousands, 100,000s, millions of people all around the world. And it's taking the core of what they offer and enabling you to access those products and services without asking for their permission, or without engaging with them, or without giving them any control. And so I really feel like right now, I can go to the retail bank and they're going to give me what, like 2% if I'm lucky. Like, we're in the negative interest land, but in the
1%,
1%, it's like, ooh, 1%, 2%. I mean, big deal. I was on crypto.com looking there, and like, albeit it's a bit of a centralized service and there's some associated risk to it, but they're offering like, 12% on US on cash. So it's like,
crazy.
Why wouldn't you like immediately take any cash funds, put it into stable coins, and be earning like a much higher percentage? And in doing so, we start removing our power from these legacy, toxic, centralized, corrupt systems. And I won't say that I don't believe that they were originally intended to be corrupt, but over time, centralization, as it continues to get more and more centralized and time goes on, it just becomes more and more corrupt. And we're like deep on this train now. So it's time for us to break free. And, a lot of people have a lot of questions around DeFi and how to do it. And I think it's been very kind of technical for a lot of people to be able to engage in it. But I feel like, I was just with Edge Wallet, who's the official wallet, and like, they've got I think they're going to be launching an Aave solution very soon that like, it's going to make it really easy to kind of like, borrow on your crypto. Because also, crypto, it's like, sure, if you want to base everything and base your life in US dollar denominations, like understand that is going to continue to go through inflation and hyperinflation. So it's like, there's a little bit, but against
it's a funny thing, isn't it? Like it's a funny dichotomy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, but as well, it's like you're not going to get 12% on your Bitcoin, but you might get like, 4, which is still pretty incredible. And it's by empowering, like at the core, what the banks were all about was, I have extra money. You need some money. I'm willing to borrow the money at a cost. I'm willing to lend the money at interest. Like, okay, that's it. And like, but I feel where it got really dangerous was when the bank started saying like, okay, I'll borrow $10 from you and I'll lend out $100 to you. And and then they started getting a little bit greedy. I'll borrow $1 from you and I'll lend out $100 to you. And then I'm starting to give some bad loans to people too. Okay, we know the result of that. But my son is gonna make a quick cameo.
I want these glasses.
These are Daddy's glasses. I'll put my other glasses on. You never know what you're gonna get with the Kyle Kemper show. Okay.
No, I get it. I have them too. Mine are 9 and 12, and they tend to show up in random times too.
Well, it's nice. I've worn these for a long time, so I'll do that. Sequoia, thank you. Okay, well, fantastic. So in terms of an activation, what are you thinking for an activation in Miami?
I know, you just said it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I had a whole presentation like drawn together. It's all like, I was actually, for the first time like ever, like I was prepared early. I was like, look, I was putting all the PowerPoints together and now you just throw to me this. I'm like, ooh, I don't know. What kind of activation do you think what do you think would be helpful for people?
Well, I mean, I think we want Sequoia. Daddy's talking right now. All right, let's put those back in there. Go put them away. Go put them away for Daddy. Teaching children DeFi for children.
I teach my kids children. My son is wanting to do like teaching. He's 12 and he's like, Mom, can I teach DeFi to kids? I'm like, yes.
There you go. The students become the masters, and there's no reason that a 12-year-old shouldn't have like full grasp on all of this. Because,
he is amazing. And he talks to his teachers about it, and they're like, "What are you on?" I'm like, "Oh, get over."
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, "Teach me." Like,
they should be.
Yeah. So in terms of activations, like, so we don't want this to be like the traditional conference where it's necessarily like, I love that you've got the presentation that there is that because you have a wealth of knowledge, but like by the end, it's like, how do we engage with people? Because I know I like to engage in things. I like to actually do things. So if there's like, a call to action, or it's like, come to be prepared for this, you need this, or this, or, we're going to do an experiment, or let's collaboratively think. Now that we've talked about this, okay, let's smash the room's brains board together. And like, let's think about, I don't know, whatever we want. And so like, there's flexibility in being able to kind of like, go with the flow, but also set like a general framework for, wealth alchemy, understanding DeFi, for example, or it's like, introduction and understanding and 5 things we can leave here knowing how to do this. And if you want to like further become involved, then that's like, do you as an individual, as the wealth alchemist, do you do coaching? Do you help people? Tell me like, how can others engage and learn from you and be part of and benefit from your wealth of knowledge and consciousness?
So I actually just ran my first 8-week program called New Wealth from Crypto, where I was teaching everybody how to get into DeFi. So that all that technical stuff I break down, and there's like sheets that break everything down. So you have to just follow it step by step by step. And I am about to open doors to a mastermind that is a group experience where people can come together and really dive deep into DeFi and actually shift their energy and their experience, all of it, and like learn how to actually become financially sovereign. Because what I have found in this experience is it takes a lot of mold, like breaking of the consciousness, right, of our perception of reality to actually allow ourselves to receive what's here for us. And so I've said to people, even in my group that I just ran through with all of this, I was like, the easy part, actually, the hard part feels like the technical part right now, right? Because even if anyone who's listening, and if you're not in DeFi, like one of the reasons you're probably not in DeFi is because it's technically a little bit challenging. And so when that seems like the thing, but actually the next piece that's underneath that is I'm worthy. Like, of course, I'm allowing myself to receive this abundance. It's okay that I can look at my account and every single day without fail, money shows up for me. And I can allow myself to keep that money. And I can see how I can spiral this up, right? And so I think it absolutely, they lay together. And so this is like an experience of how do I really show up for myself to grow my wealth considering like even today on my podcast, I have the Wealth Alchemist podcast, and one of my mentors and I had a conversation about generational wealth, like even getting into the thought process of how do I want to do, what do I want to leave as my legacy? And like really looking at this long-term growth of wealth on all the levels and layers, and like diving deep into more crypto things, more DeFi things. We'll probably have, I don't know, I'm guessing there'll be some NFT, and it won't be me talking about it, but some guests.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have all sorts of NFT talk. We're gonna have all sorts of crypto talk. We're gonna have all sorts of DeFi talk. And I love the idea of like, masterminds as well. Like, I participated in a Puerto Rico mastermind back during the Restart Week campaigns, and that was fantastic. And like, that might be an opportunity for another activation as, in addition, as a follow-up to the event. Is like, okay, let's have a mastermind on this, especially around like, conscious capitalism, conscious DeFi, and like, and help assisting. I come back to this idea of like, we're on the precipice of this new earth right now. We're building the new earth, and this is new earth tech, and new earth tech requires like, elevating consciousness and elevating the vibration, moving away from like, the constructs that have been holding us, at lower vibrations. I'll just say that. And so one of the intentions of this is to bring together people, and like, it's so critical to meet in person and to have pause. Like, I know we're here, and I mean, and I can actually, I feel very connected to you, and I know that like, space is kind of a reality, but I feel like we're here together. But truly as well, like when you have the energy together, and when you're in flow, and we're hugging, and we're not like, we're not, it's like, when you dedicate time and space and create a good environment for it, like wonderful things can happen, magic can
absolutely
happen. And so absolutely. Like, that's why
I think it, especially at live events, one of the best parts of it is it's like and I say this, speakers are amazing, and they are the framework for an event, and like phenomenal, and there's so much education. Like the other part that's also amazing is when there is people just talking to each other.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like learning from each other and connecting with each other and hearing different ideas and
collisions.
Like, we get, especially I think this last 18 months, like, when we've been so separated, that it's like, you just get into your own little groove in your own little world, and you're like, oh, there's some other things that I could think about out there. Oh, you could challenge me on some beliefs. And it's like, all of a sudden you get these people who would not necessarily all be together. Cause I don't know about you, but I don't have a lot of people hanging around me that are in this space yet. Not like, my neighbors aren't there yet. And so, it's nice to be able to have places that we can go and connect and be like, oh, what do you think about this? Oh, you have these thoughts? Like, it's such an empowering, like, I find it personally very invigorating, energizing, and it just shifts all the realities in your brain. And you're like, generally speaking, I leave more expanded and think like, wow, I have even more amazingness, more, especially in these spaces. It's like, I fall in love with it deeper, and the community deeper.
And we don't know, and it's just, there's like things happen, and opportunities present themselves. And for example, in this, like, it's just the way the world works. I mean, I was introduced to someone talking about NFTs. They're like, look, we have this portal device, this hologram machine. And they're like, oh yeah, Tim Draper's one of our investors. I'm like, I know Tim. Like, I got his email. He usually responds. I was like, Tim, like, I just like the portal. It's amazing. He's like, I have a speech of me doing this thing with it. And like they sent it to the portal team. We got the whole, and then he did this story file thing where he recorded 107 different questions in studio, like from business advice to crypto to life advice to entrepreneurship. And Tim Draper is a wealth of knowledge, and he is very conscious and very aware, and is an amazing human. And so we're launching the story file on the 11th. And one of the things in it was like, what's like some good advice to do? And he was like, just say yes. Like, say yes to things, like, because when you say no to things, like, you put yourself in a box, you limit yourself. Like, say yes. Like, I mean, obviously be aware of danger and like opportunity cost, but say yes if you can to things. And so, like, if you're thinking, should I come to Miami and be here and learn about, wealth alchemy and DeFi and NFTs and, some of like, really building amazing companies and new projects. Like we don't have like, you know, the Facebooks and the Googles and the Twitters and the big corporate kind of like, you know, brands involved on this. This isn't a regulatory focused thing where we're trying to fit into the box. No, we're like really bringing experience and like the true heartbeat of crypto and radical collaboration and just, you know, just mixing things up Royal Tenenbaum
Yes.
style. Like let's just throw it out there and see what happens. And have a decentralized dance party. We're going to march through the streets. We're going to get dressed up. If you want to wear a costume,
Jacuzzi, Jacques coming. The party scientist will be there. Boom, boom.
Jacques is right here with me right now.
Oh
He's
my
literally,
God.
I'm looking at him. He's right here. And he's gonna be doing
It's
that.
amazing.
We just did a big activation at Edge's birthday party last night in San Diego. It was incredible, and we're gonna be doing those through the whole time too. So yeah, it's just a big family. And if you're attracted, or if you're watching and you're attracted and you feel this energy and you want to be a part of it, like please come out. You know, use the code Keri20, get 20% off the ticket. You know, if you really want to be there, and if you can't afford the ticket, then like, you know, make a video, tag us on social media saying why you want to be there and what you want to get out of it. And, you know, we're going to make it work. But it's like, you know, show a little bit of effort. Like we want you to be there. If you want to be there, we want you to be there because we want to bring a lot of new people from different industries. If you're a champion of another industry, you're like, you know, crypto is something I don't really know all that much about, but I want to know more. This is your great opportunity. Come out, like, you know, meet with some pros. And I think we're going to try and work on some identification on badges too, with regards to like how much experience and like, you know, the fields of expertise. So if you see someone with like, you know, an NFT, a DeFi badge on their badge, like just feel free to ask them, like, tell me about DeFi if you don't know any, or if you're like novice, it's like, okay, great. And it's cool to be a novice. Don't be afraid to be a novice.
Oh my God,
we all have to start somewhere. We're always all learning. Like, you know, there's no one knows everything.
Let's be honest. In the crypto space, we're all novices. Like we all are.
We're all
levels of a novice, but it's like
indeed we're at the dawn of something great here. And you know, we're bringing a lot of like, you know, the advanced novices together to teach, and we bring some really awesome people like Jacuzzi, like Gary LaChance, to throw awesome activations, really cool technology from the scanners to, you know, to what else, to the portal. You know, we're going to be dropping some fun NFT. We got NFT tickets, and I don't know, it's just going to be like, we're just going to mix it up. We got art gallery. We got some really awesome artists coming in. It's going to be so epic. It's going to be so epic. So Keri, how can people get in touch or follow you? What are your main handles so I can associate on things?
Keri Norley, really, and it's KeriNorley. So on
Keri
Facebook,
Norley on Google or on DuckDuckGo. You punch that in, you're gonna find her.
Keri Norley. You'll find me on Insta, on Facebook. I'm like Keri Norley 1.
Brilliant. Let's like, you know, if you want to connect, you want to learn, it's there. But also like, you know, we're 10 days away, 11 days away from the beginning of this show. I gotta go. Thank you, Keri. My son has just come, and I'm not gonna express what I've got to do right now.
I can imagine. Have fun with that.
I'll wave bye with this hand. All
right. I look forward to meeting you and giving you a hug in about 10 days.
Ditto. I can't wait. All right. Bye, Keri. Thank you. Bye.